In moments when life feels overwhelming, when your heart is tired and your spirit is weighed down by worries, you may find yourself searching for a sign, a reminder that heaven has not forgotten you. Welcome to Timeless Prayer. If you are here today, it is not by accident. You have been gently led to a place of hope, a place of faith, and a place where miracles are still possible through the powerful intercession of Saint Anthony of Padua. For centuries, countless people across the world, especially in Italy, Spain, Latin America, and every nation rooted in deep Catholic tradition, have turned to this beloved saint in their moments of urgent need. They come to him when something precious is lost, when healing feels out of reach, when financial burdens grow too heavy, and when life itself seems to have closed every door. And time after time, Saint Anthony has shown that he listens, he cares, and he responds with compassion that never fails. Today, you are invited to enter this sacred moment with an open heart, because the powerful prayer to Saint Anthony for urgent miracles, healing, and financial help has changed lives, restored families, opened paths, and brought peace to souls who believed they had run out of answers. As you prepare to pray, allow yourself to breathe, to release your fears, and to trust that you are not alone. Heaven sees your struggles, understands your silence, and welcomes every sincere word you speak. Whether you are seeking clarity, strength, a breakthrough, or a miracle that seems impossible by human means, know that Saint Anthony stands ready to intercede for you with tenderness and unwavering love. If you have been waiting for a sign, let this be it. If you have been searching for hope, let it rise within you now. And if your soul is longing for a miracle, step forward in faith. Because this prayer has never failed those who trust in God's mercy and Saint Anthony's powerful intercession. Saint Anthony of Padua, mighty intercessor and faithful servant of God, I come before you today with a heart weighed down by troubles I can no longer carry alone. I am in urgent need, and the burden pressing on me feels heavier with each passing day. Saint Anthony, I turn to you not as a last resort, but because I have unwavering faith in your powerful intercession. You, who walked closely with Jesus, who carried his love and mission in your heart, now stand before God's throne with great compassion and authority, interceding for those who cry out in their time of need. I bring my own plea before you today, trusting that you will carry it to the Lord with love, urgency, and unwavering faith. I do not approach you in entitlement, but with a heart full of hope, knowing that no situation is too impossible when placed in your hands. I ask you to intercede for me, Saint Anthony, to lift this seemingly impossible circumstance before God, who sees and hears every prayer offered with faith. You understand the longing of a heart, the desire for what seems lost, broken, or out of reach. And I place my deepest need before you, trusting in your care and advocacy. If something has been lost, I pray for its return. If what has been broken can be healed, I ask for restoration. If God has something even greater planned for me, open my heart to receive it with grace and humility. Saint Anthony, I put my trust in you, knowing that miracles do happen, not always in ways we expect, but always according to God's perfect timing. If the miracle I seek comes today, I will glorify God with all my being. If it takes longer, grant me patience, peace, and steadfast trust, knowing that every plan of God is unfolding even when it is unseen. Remind me, Saint Anthony, that no prayer, no sincere cry of the heart ever goes unheard, especially when carried with faith and lifted by your powerful intercession. I place this urgent need in your hands, confident that even now, unseen forces are aligning in my favor. I speak my request aloud, not in fear, but in faith, because I know that a prayer offered in trust becomes sacred. Though the weight of this need feels impossible to bear alone, I do not rely on my own strength, but on the God who still works miracles today. I believe in Jesus who walks through closed doors, in the God who raises life from despair, and in the powerful intercession of Saint Anthony. With your help, I believe this miracle can manifest. If it is God's will, let it come swiftly. Let heaven pour out blessings that have already been prepared for me. And if anything stands in the way, doubt, fear, confusion, or darkness, I ask you, Saint Anthony, to intervene with heavenly authority, rebuking every obstacle and restoring all that God has planned for me. You have performed countless miracles, not only restoring what was lost, but healing what was broken and returning what seemed gone forever. I believe, Saint Anthony of Padua, that you can do the same for me. Let the miracle descend upon my life like gentle, unstoppable showers of grace. Let my breakthrough arrive like the dawn, bright, certain, and filled with God's light. I call upon your intercession with full faith, confident that prayer to Saint Anthony and the power of Saint Anthony of Padua can open the doors to healing, restoration, and divine provision. I wait in hope and expectation, knowing that every heartfelt plea placed in your care carries the power to transform. Saint Anthony, under your protection, I place my worries, my fears, my financial struggles, and my desires for healing and change. Guide me, strengthen me, and help me see the miracles that God is preparing. I trust in your intercession, not as a magic charm, but as a bridge to the miraculous power of God's love. Am I ready, Saint Anthony, to receive what God has already prepared? Can I open my heart fully to embrace His perfect plan, knowing that every delay is for the purpose of blessing me even more? I put my faith in you, Saint Anthony, and in the prayers that rise through you to God's throne. Help me wait with patience and trust, and let my life be transformed by your powerful intervention. May every lost hope be restored, every broken heart healed, and every divine promise fulfilled. Through your intercession, Saint Anthony of Padua, I wait for a miracle, believing that God's love, mercy, and power are at work even now, and that no need placed in your hands is ever too great. Amen. I place all my hope, my deepest desires, and my heaviest burdens into your hands, Saint Anthony of Padua, knowing that through your powerful intercession, nothing is beyond repair, and no need is too great for God's love to touch. I come before you not with small requests or fleeting wishes, but with the longings of my heart, the wounds that ache silently, and the fears that shadow my days and nights. I ask you, Saint Anthony, to be my guide through this season of waiting, to stand with me when uncertainty surrounds me, and when the weight of life feels too heavy to bear. Let your presence, gentle and unwavering, be my refuge, a calm river flowing over the turbulent waters of my mind, soothing the anxieties that twist and turn and steal my peace. Remind me, dear Saint Anthony, that even when answers are delayed, God's timing is flawless, and His wisdom, beyond my understanding, shapes each moment for my good. Fill me with patience, with steadfast faith, and with courage that I might rise each day with hope renewed. Even when darkness seems unending and discouragement whispers lies that I am forgotten, you know the ache of longing better than any. For you see the hearts that cry in silence, the souls that reach desperately for relief, and the spirits that ache for restoration. I ask not only for the miracle I seek, but for the strength to endure in trust and love, to remain kind when bitterness tempts, and to hold steady when fear presses in. Saint Anthony, you who are famed as the finder of lost things, today I come to you with what is most precious yet unseen, my broken heart, my weary spirit, my soul in need of healing. Restore what has been broken in me. Bring light where shadows linger, comfort where sorrow dwells, and renewal where despair has taken root. Guide me with gentle clarity when confusion clouds my mind. Grant rest to my weariness beyond mere sleep, and let tender hope touch the places that pain has numbed. Help me breathe again freely, releasing the weight of anxieties, the torment of unrelenting worries, and the fears that tell me I am insufficient, too flawed, or too broken to be heard. Lift from me the chains of doubt that bind me to hopelessness, and let your intercession, powerful and filled with love, remind me that I am always seen, always held, always cherished by God, and never abandoned in my struggles. I place my need into your hands, Saint Anthony, confident that you present it before God with the urgency and compassion it deserves. Let the miracle unfold in God's perfect time, and teach me to wait with peace, knowing that even now, unseen blessings are at work, preparing the way for transformation. Be my companion through the storms that rage in life, the winds that howl in moments of despair, and the darkness that clouds my path. For I know with you by my side, I am never alone. You are not merely the restorer of lost objects, but the healer of broken hearts, the strength for the weary, and the light for those who can no longer see the way forward. In your hands, Saint Anthony, I entrust my pain, my sorrows, and the burdens too heavy to carry alone. Heal my emotional wounds, lift the weight of injustices and betrayals, and fill the empty spaces in my heart with gentle peace, tender hope, and divine joy that can coexist even with sorrow. If reconciliation, renewal, or restoration is part of God's plan, guide me with grace to embrace it. And if closure and understanding are what is required, grant me the serenity to move forward without resentment. Let the joy you restore not be blind to grief, but a joy that holds the sacred balance of sorrow and beauty, hope and hardship, faith and patience. Teach me that even in tears, something beautiful can emerge, that even in loss, there is room for grace, and that even in brokenness, I am held in the unending love of God through your prayerful intercession. Saint Anthony, I ask for a mind clear enough to discern truth, a heart open enough to receive love, and a soul still enough to know I am cradled in divine care, even in moments of uncertainty. Be my refuge, my guide, and my restorer. I put my trust wholly in you, Saint Anthony, knowing that through your powerful prayer to Saint Anthony, the lost is found, the broken is mended, and the hopeless are lifted. Fill me with the courage to keep faith alive, to wake each morning with expectation, and to praise God even when prayers appear unanswered, knowing that every silent tear, every whispered plea, and every longing of my heart is present before Him. Let me feel again the gentle joys of life, the beauty that surrounds me, and the softness of hope even when suffering presses in. Grant me strength to endure, wisdom to discern, and peace to abide, knowing that you, Saint Anthony of Padua, are ever at my side, ever presenting my needs before God, and ever bringing solace to the weary. I turn to you with all my heart, all my longing, and all my need, trusting that through your intercession, I will be guided, comforted, and restored. May your presence infuse me with hope, renew my spirit, heal the invisible wounds, and awaken joy even amidst trials. Saint Anthony of Padua, hear my prayer, embrace my spirit, and let the miracle I seek take root in God's perfect plan. I put my trust in you, Saint Anthony, as my protector, my restorer, and my advocate, and I wait with hope, patience, and unwavering faith, knowing that through your prayer to Saint Anthony, the impossible becomes possible. The broken is made whole, and the weary are uplifted in love. Saint Anthony of Padua. As I lift my heart to you, I speak to you with the humility and longing of someone who has walked through difficulty and still chooses to believe in grace. I ask you to hear me as one who seeks your powerful intercession with sincerity and faith, for you have always stood beside those who cry out for help. And today, I come before you trusting that your prayers can open paths that I cannot open on my own. In every moment when pain, resentment, or disappointment has tried to write the final chapter of my story, I ask you to let love be the last word, the word that heals, restores, and renews what has been wounded within me. If opportunities have faded before my eyes, if blessings I once held have slipped through my fingers, I place these losses under your protection and ask you, Saint Anthony, to prepare something even better, something touched by God's mercy, something meant uniquely for me. Let no door stay closed if God intends it to open, and let me never believe that anything destined for my life has been lost forever. Through your intercession, open the unseen doors of grace, redemption, and divine favor, and lead me gently into a new season filled with blessings greater than anything I have dared to hope for. When discouragement shakes my confidence, when failure, criticism, or delays whisper lies into my spirit, strengthen me so I may rise again. Remind me of who I am in God's eyes, not through the harsh judgments of the world. Give me the quiet courage to walk forward even when my steps tremble, and allow your prayers to be a constant reminder of my worth, lifting me whenever I feel weak or forgotten. Saint Anthony of Padua. If ever I have lost sight of myself, if God's presence feels distant and hope seems faint, I beg you to come to my aid. Restore the joy I once felt, return peace to my heart, and guide me back to the light of God's love where my soul can rest and be renewed. In moments of confusion, when fear clouds my thoughts and shadows grow long around me, be my guide, my comfort, and my protector. Call me out of the darkness, rebuild my spirit, and return me to the wholeness that only divine grace can give. I long to live not in the heaviness of loss, but in the radiant light of restoration. Prayer to Saint Anthony has reached countless hearts throughout generations, and today I add my own voice, trusting that your intercession will carry my petitions into the presence of God with tenderness and power. Saint Anthony, I put my entire trust in your prayers. I wait for a miracle, believing that God's mercy works in ways far beyond my understanding. Under your protection, I find strength, and with your guidance, I find peace. Today, with deep faith, I place before you my financial struggles, not out of greed or desire for luxury, but from a place of responsibility, fear, and longing for stability. You, who have helped so many in practical needs, look upon me with compassion. The weight of my obligations feels heavy, and the silent worry of never having enough follows me day after day. My request is simple, Saint Anthony. Ask the Lord to grant me enough to breathe without fear, enough to step out of constant struggle, enough to live with dignity, balance, and the ability to help others as my heart desires. I do not seek riches. I seek provision that allows me to rest without guilt, to care for my loved ones, and to move through life with steadiness instead of anxiety. I put my trust in you because I know that nothing is impossible when your intercession accompanies my prayer. With patience and unwavering hope, I wait for a miracle that will transform my circumstances and allow me to stand strong again. Saint Anthony. Prayer to Saint Anthony has brought peace to so many souls, and today I turn to you asking that you open the gates of provision for me. Lead me to the right doors, doors I cannot reach alone, and let divine favor go before me. Place my name on the hearts of employers, clients, lenders, landlords, and all those whose decisions could bless my future. Let opportunities flow toward me with God's perfect timing. Let work be offered, accounts be credited, debts be eased, and unexpected help arrive just when I need it most. If injustice has touched my finances, correct it. If something owed to me has been withheld, bring restoration. When debt feels overwhelming, create a path forward so I may pay what is due and break free from the cycle that has held me captive. Ease the pressure on my spirit so I can look upward again and believe that change is on the way. Saint Anthony of Padua, you who have answered countless prayers, both mighty miracles and quiet rescues. I trust in you not because I am worthy, but because God is good and you are faithful to those who call upon you in hope. I place myself, my needs, and my future under your protection, waiting with confidence for the blessing that will come, believing that your intercession will guide me toward healing, restoration, and lasting peace. I invite you now to take a moment to open your heart and place your trust fully in Saint Anthony of Padua, knowing that his intercession carries the power to transform your life in ways that go beyond what you can imagine. Have you ever felt that the weight you carry is simply too much for one person alone? In those moments, when the burdens of life seem overwhelming, I ask you to remember that you are not alone, and that the help of heaven is nearer than you think. I come to you, Saint Anthony, not as one driven by desperation, but with unwavering faith in your love, your guidance, and your tireless ability to intercede before our Lord. I place before you now the struggles that I can no longer face on my own, the financial hardships, the moments of doubt, the challenges that have kept my spirit restless and my heart anxious. I place my life, my worries, and my deepest desires into your hands, knowing that you, who have restored what was lost, healed the broken, and brought light to the darkest places, will carry my prayers swiftly to Jesus, asking him to move in my life where I am powerless, to heal where there is hurt, and to bring restoration to what has been broken or lost. I know, Saint Anthony, that all unfolds according to God's perfect timing. Yet I trust in your intercession to bring swift mercy and divine intervention if it is His will. Today, I release all fear and anxiety, surrendering every concern into your capable care, and I open my heart fully to the peace and grace that come from faith. Even when I cannot see the changes I long for, I choose to believe that you are already at work behind the scenes, moving my prayers before God, creating miracles that will reveal themselves in His time. I give thanks, not for what I see, but for the certainty that what is promised is on its way, and I choose to live with gratitude, knowing that divine grace often moves before evidence appears. Saint Anthony, I place my hope, my trust, and my life in your intercession, believing that with your guidance, miracles begin quietly, in places unseen, until they unfold with undeniable power. So I ask you now to continue interceding for me, Saint Anthony of Padua, guiding my heart, my mind, and my spirit towards stability, healing, and favor. Let your presence remind me that even in waiting, miracles are already in motion, and let your prayers bring the comfort and courage I need to face the uncertainties of life. When the burdens of the world weigh heavy upon me, let me feel your gentle hand and hear your quiet encouragement whispering that I am never alone, that divine help is already present, and that my prayers are being lifted and answered in ways beyond my understanding. In times of doubt or fear, help me to remember that your care is constant, and that the miracles I seek, financial restoration, emotional healing, and spiritual renewal, are already on their way. Can you feel the shift when you fully release your worries to Saint Anthony? Do you allow yourself to truly wait with patience, trusting that the answers will come at the right time? As you ponder these questions, speak aloud your faith. Saint Anthony, I believe in your help. By saying these words, you take a step of faith that opens the door to unimaginable grace and the intervention of heaven. This is not merely a prayer. It is a declaration of your trust, a commitment to believe that God's providence, through Saint Anthony's intercession, can bring the impossible into your life. When your heart feels heavy and the road ahead unclear, remember that Saint Anthony is always listening, always ready to respond, and always bringing your petitions before God with urgency and compassion. Release your worries, speak your needs, and embrace the peace that comes from knowing that a breakthrough is near, that your prayers to Saint Anthony are not in vain, and that your faith will be rewarded in ways that surpass all understanding. Saint Anthony, I surrender my anxieties, my fears, and all the burdens I carry, emotional, spiritual, and physical, into your care. Let your presence guide me through life's storms, even when the winds rage and the path seems unclear. Help me find stillness in the chaos, calmness in the fear, and hope in the moments of despair. Remind me that I am never alone, and that your prayers are moving on my behalf before the throne of God. Teach me to trust fully in His timing, to wait patiently without fear, and to open my heart to the quiet miracles that are unfolding even now. Restore the peace that has been lost in my heart, replacing doubt with faith, worry with trust, and fear with calmness, Saint Anthony. Let your intercession bring healing to all who suffer, light to all in darkness, and peace to all who are burdened. May your prayers guide my steps, calm my spirit, and renew my joy. And may they reach the hearts of those who also need your help, reminding them that miracles happen when faith meets patience and surrender. As I await the answers I seek, help me rest in the assurance that God is already at work in my life, and that through your intercession, the changes I long for are already beginning to take shape. Do you feel that quiet confidence rising within you, the calm assurance that your life is being touched by divine grace? Can you sense the presence of Saint Anthony of Padua, gently guiding you toward solutions, restoration, and blessings? Let this moment be a reminder that miracles often start in the unseen places of our hearts. That prayer to Saint Anthony is a powerful tool, and that by trusting fully, you invite transformation into every area of your life. When your heart grows heavy, speak your needs, release your fears, and hold fast to faith. Know that with Saint Anthony's intercession, with patience and persistence, your life will be restored, your burdens lifted, and your prayers answered in ways that surpass all expectation. Saint Anthony is your advocate, your guide, and your protector, ready to intercede for urgent miracles, healing, and the abundant blessings that God has prepared for you. Trust, believe, and wait, for the divine answers are already on their way, and your life is about to experience the grace, favor, and peace that you have longed for. Now, let's delve into this true story. The Miracle at Willow Street, a story inspired by the spirit of Saint Anthony. The rain had been falling for 3 straight days in the little town of Rivermont. Gray clouds hung low over the rooftops, and the streets glistened with puddles reflecting dim porch lights. Inside a modest blue house on Willow Street, Maria Bennett sat at her kitchen table, clutching a crumpled eviction notice in trembling hands. She had always been steady, practical, resilient, traits shaped by years of working 2 jobs and raising her teenage daughter alone. But this time, her strength felt thin, almost transparent. Bills piled higher each week. Her health wavered from exhaustion, and the small bakery where she worked had just announced it would be closing. What she needed now was something she had never asked for before: a miracle. On the counter lay a small statue of Saint Anthony of Padua. its surface worn from years of being held in moments of quiet prayer. It had belonged to her grandmother, who used to say, "When you are lost, truly lost, St. Anthony will guide you home." Maria didn't know if she believed in miracles anymore, but she knew she had nothing else to lean on. She took a deep breath, pressed her fingers to the cool statue, and whispered, "St. Anthony, if ever I needed help, it's now. Please, show me the way." The room felt still. The storm quieted for just a moment, as if pausing to listen. That evening, after her daughter Lily went to bed, Maria walked into her small bedroom and knelt beside the window. She prayed for clarity, for strength, and for the courage to keep going. She prayed for a sign that her life wasn't unraveling beyond repair. But her prayers carried a deeper pain, one she rarely allowed herself to acknowledge. Last year, before the debts, before the bakery's closure, she had lost her younger brother in a tragic accident. Grief had hollowed her out, and though she tried to stay strong for Lily, a part of her heart remained broken, lost somewhere she could not reach. "St. Anthony," she whispered, tears slipping quietly down her cheeks. "If anything can be restored, restore my hope." She fell asleep still kneeling, her hand resting gently on the worn statue. The next morning, Maria awoke to the sound of knocking. She scrambled to her feet, smoothing her hair as she hurried to the door. Standing on her porch was an elderly man with silver hair and kind, steady eyes. He wore a long brown coat and held a small leather journal pressed to his chest. "Good morning," he said with a warm smile. "I'm looking for the Bennett residence." "That's me," Maria answered cautiously. "Can I help you?" "My name is Thomas Avery," he replied. "I was on Willow Street years ago when my car broke down. Your mother, God rest her, helped me when she didn't have to. She fixed me a meal, called a mechanic, and refused to take a penny." Maria felt a soft ache in her chest at the mention of her mother. She always believed kindness finds its way back. Maria said quietly, "That's why I'm here." The man extended the journal. "This belonged to your mother. She asked me to return it to her family if I ever came back to town." Maria blinked in surprise. She hadn't seen her mother's journal since she was a child. When she opened it, something fell out, an envelope with her name written in her mother's handwriting. Inside was a short letter and a small key. "My Maria, if you are reading this, then life has led you to a moment of need. This key belongs to the storage box in my old cedar chest. Inside, you will find something I set aside for you and Lily. If you ever feel lost, remember, St. Anthony always guides the faithful home." Maria felt a warmth spread through her chest, something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. Thomas offered to drive her to her mother's old property, which had been sold but still kept the furniture in a barn out back. As they drove, he spoke gently, telling her how her mother had once said, "When someone is struggling, you don't wait for them to ask for help. You show up." When they arrived, Maria found the cedar chest exactly where she remembered it. Her hands trembled as she unlocked it. Inside were photographs, her grandmother's prayer book, and at the very bottom, a sealed metal box. She opened it slowly. Within lay a bundle of savings bonds, neatly preserved, each worth far more than she expected. Her mother must have saved bit by bit for years, silently protecting her daughter's future. Maria burst into tears, not from relief alone, but from the overwhelming realization that she had never truly been alone. Even in death, love had been guiding her. On top of the bonds was a note. "This is for your hardest day, my daughter. When it comes, trust God, trust St. Anthony, and trust the strength I know you carry in your heart." That night, after paying the overdue bills and securing her home for another year, Maria sat quietly by the window again. The rain had stopped, leaving the world washed clean under the moonlight. "Saint Anthony," she whispered, "thank you for helping me find what was lost, my hope, my strength, myself." She placed the small statue beside her mother's journal, realizing the miracle wasn't only the money, it was the healing of wounds she believed too deep to mend. It was the reassurance that love, even from those gone before, still reached her. It was the reminder that miracles often arrive gently through unexpected people in moments wrapped in grace. As she closed her eyes to pray, she felt peace, steady, warm, unwavering, filling every corner of her heart. For the first time in a long time, Maria believed again that life was not falling apart, but gently being put back together. Months later, as spring returned to Rivermont, Maria walked Lily to school with a renewed spirit. She had found a new job at a local cafe. Debt no longer threatened her home, and her faith had been restored in ways she couldn't explain. And every morning, before stepping out the door, she touched the statue of Saint Anthony and whispered, "Thank you for guiding me home." As the seasons continued to unfold, Maria carried the memory of that miraculous day on Willow Street like a quiet flame that warmed her spirit during even the coldest moments. It was not just a story she kept tucked away in her heart. It became a truth she lived by. A reminder that grace often arrives when we have reached the end of our own strength. She shared the experience with Lily little by little, not as a tale of luck or coincidence, but as evidence that hope can rise again when faith seems impossible. And each time she spoke of it, her voice carried a steadiness she had once thought she would never feel again. Life did not suddenly become perfect, nor did challenges disappear entirely. There were still days when bills came unexpectedly, when exhaustion tugged at her shoulders, when doubt whispered faintly around the edges of her mind. But now, Maria faced these moments with a renewed courage, a courage rooted in the certainty that she was guided, protected, and never abandoned. She learned to meet each day with gratitude instead of fear, trusting that the same divine love that had carried her through darkness would continue to light her path forward. Sometimes, on quiet evenings, she would take out her mother's journal and read the worn pages, feeling as if her mother sat beside her, offering gentle wisdom between the lines. Other times, she held the small statue of Saint Anthony, its familiar weight reminding her of the miracle that began not with money, but with a prayer whispered from the depths of a weary heart. She realized then that Saint Anthony had not only helped her find what was lost, he had guided her back to herself, to a place where faith could flourish again. And so, with every sunrise that touched the rooftops of Rivermont, Maria stepped into the world with a softer heart and a stronger spirit. The miracle she had received became a source of compassion for others, inspiring her to offer help freely, just as her mother once had. For Maria now understood a truth she wished to carry for the rest of her life. When we open our hearts in trust, when we dare to believe even in the smallest ember of hope, miracles do not simply happen, they multiply, they expand, and they gently lead us home. Maria's story reminds us that even in our darkest moments, help can arrive in ways we least expect. When we open our hearts with faith, just as she did, grace begins to move, and St. Anthony walks beside us with compassion and guidance. Now, as you prepare to pray, let go of your worries for a moment and allow hope to rise within you. Trust that what you seek can be restored and that heaven is already listening. Let us enter prayer. Saint Anthony of Padua, beloved protector and gentle intercessor, I come before you now with a heart open and humbled, seeking the same peace, guidance, and miraculous grace that you have offered to countless souls throughout the ages. Just as you walked beside those in need, just as you restored what was lost and illuminated the path for those who wandered in darkness, I ask you to walk beside me now. I lift my spirit to you, trusting that you listen not only with compassion, but with the deep understanding of one who knows the sorrows and longings carried in the human heart. Saint Anthony, you who have been called the wonder worker, the finder of lost things, the helper of the hopeless, and the comforter of the afflicted, I turn to you in faith. I bring before you the burdens that weigh heavily upon my spirit, the worries that steal my peace, and the silent hurts I can no longer carry alone. Take them gently from my hands and place them before the throne of God, where mercy flows without end, and where love heals even the deepest wounds. Just as Maria on Willow Street found her miracle in an unexpected moment of grace, I believe that you, Saint Anthony, can guide my life toward the restoration I seek. You were there for her when she felt overwhelmed by fear, burdened by hardship, and lost in grief. And you restored more than what she thought she needed: her heart, her hope, her strength. I ask with humility that you bring this same renewal into my life, touching every part of me that aches for healing and every circumstance that cries out for change. Saint Anthony, I pray that you intercede for me in my times of confusion and uncertainty. There are moments when the path ahead feels unclear, when doubts cloud my thoughts, and when fear whispers that I am alone. In these moments, be my guide. Speak to my heart with quiet clarity, showing me the way forward. Lead me away from anxiety and closer to trust. Let your prayers lift me above fear, so that I may breathe again with calmness and confidence. Place in my spirit the assurance that God is already at work, preparing what I cannot yet see. I ask you, Saint Anthony, to bring healing where healing is needed. Touch my heart where it has been wounded by disappointment, rejection, or loss. Heal the places within me that have grown weary from carrying burdens too heavy to bear. Calm the storms that rise in my mind and soothe the restlessness that steals my peace. Let your intercession bring strength to my spirit, renewal to my hope, and restoration to my joy. When sorrow weighs heavily upon me, be my comfort. When grief feels too deep to carry, be my shelter. When I struggle to find meaning or purpose, guide me gently back toward the light of God's love. Saint Anthony, I place my financial worries in your care. You know the pressures of daily life, the responsibilities that weigh on hearts who simply long for stability, peace, and enough. I ask not for excess or fortune, but for provision that brings relief, for opportunities that open new paths, and for blessings that help me stand strong again. Intercede for me so that doors may open, doors of employment, resources, assistance, and unexpected support. Let those who can bless my life be moved with compassion. Let the debts that burden me be eased, and let new avenues of stability and growth unfold. If there has been injustice, correct it. If something owed to me has been withheld, restore it. If fear has kept me from stepping forward, strengthen me. If circumstances have closed in around me, widen the path before me. I ask you, Saint Anthony, to help me find what has been lost, not only in the physical sense, but in the spiritual and emotional places of my life. Restore my hope where it has faded. Restore my courage where it has weakened. Restore my faith where it has been tested. Restore my joy where sorrow has taken root. Restore my inner peace where anxiety has built walls. Let nothing remain lost that God desires me to carry forward into the next chapter of my life. Saint Anthony, remind me that miracles often arrive quietly, just as they did for Maria. Remind me that grace moves through ordinary moments, through unexpected encounters, through simple gestures of kindness, and through the unseen workings of heaven. Help me to trust not only in great signs, but also in the gentle nudges, the subtle shifts, the opportunities that appear like soft light breaking through clouds. Help me surrender my need to control everything, and instead open my hands with trust. Teach me to wait with patience instead of fear, to hope instead of despair, to believe even when I cannot yet see the outcome. Let your presence guide me through every season, times of abundance, times of struggle, times of clarity, and times when I must walk by faith alone. Saint Anthony. I ask for strength in moments when I feel pushed beyond my limits. You understand the exhaustion that comes from long battles, from responsibilities that feel unending, from challenges that press against the heart. Grant me resilience when I grow tired, peace when I grow overwhelmed, and courage when I grow uncertain. Surround me with God's love in every step I take. Let me feel your guidance as gently as a hand resting on my shoulder, steadying me when my spirit trembles. I pray also for forgiveness, both to give and to receive. Help me release bitterness, anger, or resentment that may weigh down my soul. Help me seek healing where relationships have fractured. And grant me wisdom to know when to restore what is broken and when to let go with grace. Fill my heart with compassion, humility, and understanding. Teach me to see others through the eyes of love, even when it is difficult. Saint Anthony, keep my family and loved ones under your protection. Bless their health, their peace, their dreams, and their paths. Guide them through their struggles and lift their spirits in times of difficulty. Let our home be a place of warmth, safety, and faith, a place where God's presence is felt and where hope thrives, even in challenging times. I ask you now, Saint Anthony, to walk with me as I lift my deepest need before God. Hear the prayer that lives quietly in my heart, the one I speak only in silence, the one shaped by longing, the one that brings tears when whispered aloud. Carry this petition to Jesus with your unwavering devotion. Present it with the same compassion you have shown throughout centuries of intercession. I trust not in my own strength, but in God's mercy and your faithful advocacy. If the miracle I seek is aligned with God's will, let it unfold swiftly. If it must come in stages, let me see the signs that assure me progress is being made. If God has something greater planned, prepare my heart to receive it. If patience is required, grant me the calmness to wait without fear. Saint Anthony, bless my steps, guard my spirit, and steady my heart. When doubts rise, remind me of the miracles you have brought into the lives of countless believers. When fear tries to take hold, remind me that faith is stronger. When discouragement whispers that I am forgotten, remind me that God's love is constant and unfailing. Be my companion in moments of loneliness. Be my strength in moments of weakness. Be my comfort in moments of sorrow. Be my guide in moments of uncertainty. Be my protector in moments of vulnerability. Let your prayers surround me like a shield of peace, allowing me to move through life with renewed purpose and unshakable trust. Let your presence remind me that even in the darkest season, light is already on its way. Saint Anthony, through your intercession, let healing come where healing is needed. Let restoration touch what has been broken. Let blessings flow into the places where lack has lived for too long. Let peace enter the corners of my heart that have forgotten what peace feels like. Let joy rise again like morning light after a long night. I thank you, Saint Anthony, not only for the miracles yet to come, but for the ones already moving silently into place. I thank you for listening to my prayer with tenderness. I thank you for guiding me toward God's love. And I thank you for reminding me that no matter how lost I may feel, heaven is always near, and help is always on its way. With a trusting heart, with renewed faith, and with hope rising gently within me, I place my life, my worries, and my dreams under your protection. Saint Anthony of Padua, faithful friend of the weary and miraculous intercessor of the hopeful, stay by my side, strengthen my soul, and guide me ever closer to God's peace. Amen.